pretty hectic until literally the last few minutes. Like the last 30 minutes, my brother decided, I don't know what happened, but he cut his finger. So there was that. I had to run to the store. Wife started cooking dinner, and then my mom came over. So it's been one hectic day. So
Yeah, just building up.
yeah. I mean, well, maybe not hectic day because the beginning of the day was fine, but hectic last 30 minutes. So.
Gotcha.
But Spencer, so you run your own podcast. What do you do, man?
Yeah, so we're the Delos Reyes podcast, and we basically started in the beginning of quarantine because I'm a big baseball fan. My brother and I. He's also a co-host on the show as well.
Okay.
And we were like, wow, we're really bored. We don't know what to do because we're still in school. He's in high school. I'm in my third year of college, and we're like, well, we're big baseball fans. Let's just start a podcast to see what happens. So we basically just ran with it, and we use an app called Anchor. It goes to Spotify. It puts the streams out, and like we have a couple connections with some people. Like my cousin,
Okay.
he currently, well, this past season he pitched for the Mariners. He's in the MLB, and so like we interviewed him, maybe some of his friends. So we try to use those connections to boost ourselves up and feel like, oh wow, they're pretty reputable. We could listen to their podcast, baseball.
That's pretty
But
awesome, man.
yeah, so basically we just started off there, and then ever since we just try to do an episode a week, and then hopefully when the off season hits, we'll just do maybe 2 a month, maybe a
Okay.
little less. But
So what do you
trying to
guys
expand ourselves.
talk about on the show? Do you guys talk about, who do you think is going to win the World Series, or what do you guys what kind of areas do you go into?
So when quarantine first hit, we knew we had to think of like a bunch of like different topics.
Right.
So basically, what we did, we explained almost the history of baseball 1 week at a time. So it wasn't like history class where you go from, I don't know, 1990s, then in 2000s, 2010s. We basically took like a certain topic. So there's the Hall of Fame. We did an episode on probably like the best players we thought that ever made it into the Hall of Fame. We did another one based off of players that will never make it because of stuff they've done with drugs or PDs and not good for their career.
Right.
Then so basically like kind of history information based in the off season just to keep people in tune. So even if you're not a baseball fan, you can still tune in and you're gonna learn something.
Of
At the
course,
end of
of
the day.
course. What's up, Dell? We have Dell and Randall both on Twitch and YouTube. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Dell, if you hadn't noticed, I have the red wine as requested by you. So I appreciate it, man. But yeah, so give me a rundown of the history of baseball.
Oh man, 1849. I know that's the start year.
Is it really?
It was
that recent?
a long game. Yeah,
Okay, wow, I didn't know that.
at least officially. At least officially.
Okay.
Like in a league base, but it kind of started with a bunch of little teams in the East Coast, and it spread from the East all the way through Central, and then ended up in California in the West.
Right.
Um, and it was basically just a bunch of teams that started to come together. I don't know the original commissioner's name, but he started the league. There was maybe like 10 teams, but before the Major League Baseball actually started, it was a bunch of small minor league teams.
Okay.
So these are a bunch of, it would be like your firefighters and the policemen. They would form a team. They would play. It was almost like basketball before the NBA. That's how they had it as well.
Oh, that's
And they
perfect.
basically, yeah, after that, they're like, oh, we can make something out of this. And then they realized we're going to make money out of it. Let's make a Major League of Baseball. And then slowly teams started forming. I mean, I'm from the New York area. I'm a Mets fan. So the story behind that, like a quick rundown. If you look at the Mets logo, it's, let me see if I got something around here. Yeah, it is right here. Yeah. So there's the blue and orange, the N and the Y.
Okay.
So the reason why they're blue and orange is because there used to be 3 different teams in New York post or pre 1960s. It was New York Yankees. They used to be called the Bronx Bombers, which a lot of people know. That's like one of the biggest teams in all sports. Then you had the New York Giants, not the New York Giants football team, but they had the same name. They had the same script orange, but they didn't have the blue. Then they had the Brooklyn Dodgers with Jackie Robinson, Gil Hodges, Pee Wee Reese. So then those 2 teams, the Dodgers and the Giants, relocated to California. So now we know them as San Francisco Giants, Los Angeles Dodgers. And now you're only left with one team in New York. They're like, well, what's going on? We have this big rivalry with 3 different teams. So they decided to make a new team because of the metropolitan area. They shortened it to Met. And they're like, okay, we'll call them the Mets. The New York Mets, they took the same logo from the Giants. They added blue in the middle of it for the Dodgers. And then that's it. At least for my favorite team.
I had no idea about the history of baseball. I mean, I played a little bit of baseball growing up, but I was never good. So Hence why I got into video games over sports. So, I mean, I the history is something that always eluded me. I never actually got into what made baseball so appealing. You know,
Yeah.
I know a couple decades ago, it seemed like it was more popular than it is now. Do you think that
Oh yeah.
that's true?
I think it's definitely dropped. Well, because the one thing about baseball that makes it different from other sports, maybe not for the best reason, is it's based on anticipation. So it's almost like you're waiting for a play to develop, and then what are you going to do about it? Because it's basically the pitcher
Oh,
pitching to the batter the whole time. If you're at first base, you're at third base, you're waiting for the play to happen. Then you got to pick up the ball. You're throwing it to first, or you're stepping on the base. Whereas football, quarterback says hike, the play's in motion. Everyone's actively thinking. Or the same with even golf, where you take the swing, you're playing by yourself. So it's more marketable for those sports. They're trying to do stuff for baseball, but I don't know if I agree in the right direction what they're doing. Like they're making the bases bigger, so then
oh,
more people
really?
get safe. They're
Well,
juicing the baseball, supposedly. They're adding more because they're built with like wine cork a little bit on the inside. So
really,
they're
I
trying
didn't
to,
know that.
yeah. So it's basically it's raveled up and there's this little like pong rubber ball. Like we play wall ball as a kid.
Yeah.
It's like that, and then they keep wrapping like this kind of yarn substance around it. And then they're trying to supposedly they're trying to add cork from like wine cork because when you make connection with the ball, it's supposed to go further.
So they're trying to make it go further, or it already
Yeah,
goes further
they
now?
they want supposedly the MLB wants more home runs, so then more people tune in. Because the last time,
That
like you
makes
said, the
sense.
past
Yeah.
couple of decades, you had like Mark McGuire, these big beefy guys, and then it turned out they did steroids. So like, oh, okay, and we can't have that anymore. And then now they're not giving them steroids, but they're bigging the balls a little bigger,
Making
a
it
little
easier.
easier to hit. Yeah.
So what's this thing about the bases? So they're trying to make it more, I guess, competitive in a sense, where people are just able to hit more runs and hit more, get more, score more.
Yeah, they basically they want it to be a high scoring game. And usually when you turn on a baseball game, it's kind of like almost like soccer. It might be 1-1, it might be 2-1. It usually aren't high scoring. Like sometimes you see 9-3, and that's like, whoa, all right, what happened there? Who messed up? Like
Right.
someone's not doing their job. But yeah, they have like partner leagues that are not part of the MLB, but they're their own entity, and
Hmm.
they're called independent leagues. So they have them throughout the country. They're not as reputable, but they sign on with the MLB as partner leagues. And then, like I told you, how they have like different baseballs, different bases. They try all that stuff out with these leagues. They're like almost like test dummies before they could try to bring it up to the major leagues.
Wow, I had no idea that that was even a thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's some crazy stuff. Like they're trying to do robot umpires. I was like, nah, no way,
No
you can't
way,
do
for
that.
real?
So it's not physically a robot standing in front, but there's supposed to be a robot or a camera that's AI behind home plate. And what they're trying to do is they're going to call balls and strikes, but the human umpire is going to stand there, with a little like AirPod in his ear, and he has to say whatever the call is from the robot.
Wow. Dang,
It's
they're
like, what's the
changing up the
point?
whole sport. Like,
Yeah.
what? So when are these changes are gonna take place? Like, is this?
So the bases
Are
seem
they
to be
waiting
one
for
of the.
Neuralink or something? Like,
I
I'm
mean, I think the bases are coming to implement in the next couple of years. The other stuff, it's only reached the test dummy leagues. Hasn't gone past that yet.
wow. I had
Yeah.
no idea that they were even trying to change the whole sport. What was the last time they made a change to baseball?
Um, and have to think. Well,
Because it
this
seems like
season,
it's so sacrosanct. Like you can't
yeah,
change anything.
exactly. That's what a lot of people are mad about it. Like at least the older fans, the newer fans are just like, I mean, well, I'm watching baseball,
Yeah, it does
but
feel like one of those
yeah,
sports that's always been um,
yeah,
an American sport. It feels
hmm
like it's been um, the same, and that's kind of it's kept
yeah,
like a tradition to it, and that's kind of what made it so appealing.
yeah. They really
So,
haven't changed it around too much, but now recently, like since they're losing their viewership, because football is really marketable, like American
mhm.
football. Like you play 1 day a week, you're gonna tune into your team even if they're 0-16, like my New York Giants. It doesn't matter. You're gonna watch them because you only gotta watch it 1 day a week.
Yeah.
Baseball like 162 games a season, so it's a little rough to watch all 162 games. We got your whole life going on. So I guess they're trying to make it more appealing to watch. I don't know if I agree with all this stuff, but
So
I
why
don't know.
didn't they just make the changes in reference to the number of games then?
That's what I was thinking. So they usually have a 10-team postseason or playoffs. They introduced it for this season. Now it's 16, and now
Hmm.
the new proposed plan for next year to go from 162 to 154 to then make up to have 16 teams in the playoffs, which is still a lot of games. I would say cut it even further.
Right.
It's
Wow,
still a lot to watch.
that's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
again, it just feels like baseball has been one of those sacrosanct sports. You just don't change it.
Yeah.
So we have my mom in the chat. What's up, mom? She's actually in the other room. What's up? Hi, Mr. Know-It-All. We have Randall, and then we have Gabe tuning in. Gabe, this is a new one for you, man. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Appreciate you. Guys, if you have any questions, like I said, baseball goes right over my head. And Nikki, are you peeking in? Oh, I'm sorry about my dog in the back. He's
It's all good, man.
Nikki decided she wanted to lock him in here, so now you can hear him and he's crying because he wants to get out as he hears my mom. So, let him out real quick. I will be right back. So
all
that
good,
way,
man. No worries.
quality of stream. Give me 1 second.
It's all good.
I'm sorry.
You're all
I'm so
good, man.
sorry. Okay.
You're good.
I know, Del. Poor puppy. He loves seeing people. I know he likes being in here, but he cries, and it's that high pitch that I'm trying to avoid catching in the mic. But anyways, so I guess going back to baseball, do you have any recommendations, or do you have any is the World Series over?
So it's coming up in a couple weeks. Actually, they're down to the last 6 teams.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So who are the 6 teams?
The Marlins just lost. So I think it's Braves and Astros just made it to the Final 4.
Wow.
And then the Padres and Dodgers are playing later tonight. And I think the last 2 off the top of my head. It's American League. Oh, the Rays and the Yankees.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm from Atlanta. So I'm proud of the Braves. And I said, I don't keep up with sports that much. I just keep up with who's, winning or doing good.
Mm-hmm.
And the only sports team that Atlanta has that does decent is the Braves.
Yeah.
So
they've been doing nice.
Yeah, kind of proud of the Braves. Hopefully they lift the Georgia or Atlanta curse, because all of our sports teams, for some reason, we do well up until playoffs, and then all of a sudden we just get pooped on. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's just kind of how it is. I'm a diehard Red Sox fan. Sorry.
Dude, that's all good, man.
Oh, that's what Randall said. He says, I'm a diehard Red Sox fan. But yeah, so do you play any of the sports games or any of the MLB
Video games, right?
Yeah, video games.
Yeah, I love sports video games. Madden, MLB The Shows are my favorites. I love
Really?
it. I'm a PS4 guy, yeah, for sure.
Okay. So what is
Just
it
because
about
of the show.
What is it about the sports games that's so appealing?
I don't know. I used to be, when I was maybe like 11, 12, I was big into like COD. Like I used to like Black Ops a lot. Like that's my favorite. I don't want to say genre, but I like playing Call of Duty games when it's realistic guns. I'm not a fan of the newer kind of style, like Advanced Warfare, Infinite Warfare. We got the jetpacks and stuff. So it kind of turned me off. I was kind of like half and half between sports and then Call of Duty, and it kind of pushed me over when they had all the new stuff. I didn't appreciate it as much.
I got you. So in terms of MLB, like video games, or Madden or anything like that, 2K, do you play any of those?
Yeah, dude, I love those, man. They're awesome. They're definitely like must gets every year, every other year.
See, I tried. Listen, I tried on the sports games, especially Madden. I gave it a chance, and it was an honest chance. It's just, for me, the whole atmosphere of it, I felt like it was kind of overwhelming to learn everything, because
that is true. There's a lot of different things to try to win games. There's a lot of different buttons, everything.
Right, and I just got steamrolled by my friend who was like, "Yeah, you want to play?" I'm like, "Sure, why not? Give it a shot." I got steamrolled, and it was not fun at all. It was not a vibe, and it just, I don't know, it was a huge turnoff at a certain point. So I see why people like it.
Yeah.
I see why people vibe with it. It kind of teaches you a lot about the sport, right?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, LeBron confessed last year to playing 2K to find out what to do with the Lakers when he got there.
No way, really?
As far as game plans, yeah. So that you could run routes in the game. I didn't even know this till he said it, because I'm not a big NBA guy. Like I like the Knicks, but that's why I don't follow them, as you can see, because of Knicks. But yeah, he admitted to it. He's like, yeah, I've run game plans on 2K to find out like what my players should be doing. I was like, all right, I mean, guess that's your game plan,
I
for
mean,
your
that's
watch.
smart, to be
Yeah.
honest. It's kind of like because they devised the game around how the players and the stats did of the
Yeah.
previous year, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if it has the most recent up to date stats on the person and it's kind of modeled after them, kind of
Yeah.
makes sense why you'd want to play it.
Yeah, and it's a little fun too, especially for him who's like coming off the game and he just could play again.
Yeah. Is baseball's not an Olympic sport, is it?
No, they got rid of it in I'm trying to think of the year. '06 maybe, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Because then they made the World Baseball Classic. So it's the top 16 to 20 teams in the world, every country. Then they have their own like mini Olympics.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. So, where is baseball big in terms of other countries besides the U.S.?
I would say Caribbean countries or even South American. So like Venezuela, Puerto Rico, Cuba, Dominican Republic.
Okay.
Um, there's actually surprisingly in Japan as well, in China. You can see that when you watch the Little League World Series 12U. Like they have a strong team. They almost win every year.
Yeah. So I
Crazy.
was actually curious about that because I saw, I think it was South Korea playing, and
Them as well.
yeah, man, they're freaking crazy good.
Yeah, they're good.
It's incredible.
They're really good.
It's a different ball game. No pun intended.
Literally. Yeah.
It is a different ball game watching how they play versus how we play. I mean,
Oh yeah.
it's just I feel like some of them are more focused, if that's the right word.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't even know if I can give you an explanation of how or why. It's just sometimes their teams are a lot better.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Dell says Knicks, Mets, and Giants. Poor guy.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're 100% right.
He also said Overwatch is a lot to learn. Yeah, well, Overwatch is
I like that game. It's not that bad.
yeah, I love Overwatch. It is a lot to learn in terms of characters. That's where I think games like Overwatch and esports or stuff like that kind of relates to actual sports, because if you're thinking about Overwatch, everybody has a role, kind of like baseball. Everybody has their position they need to play. Everybody has that role they need to fill, whether it's support or outfield or pitcher versus DPS. I guess that's probably the best comparison. Direct strikeouts. But it's interesting to see how well people do in video games, and then if that translates over into sports. Because I've always watched how esports teams play versus now I've recently I really didn't get into football there for a while, but then I started to get into the psychology behind it, and I was like, well, this kind of makes sense. Like, you kind of have to juke your team or juke the opponent, and you have to kind of get inside their head. For me, it's when I'm watching any type of sports, it's that halftime period that's really important. It's or even baseball when they're switching the innings, and it's like that's really important. That's a really crucial moment because it decides the morale that supersedes it. And I'm like, okay, so if the morale stays up, then the team that's winning is going to continue to win.
Exactly.
But if the team that is winning drops their morale, or they make a bad play, I mean, it's what happened to the I guess this isn't a great comparison, but it's what happened to the Falcons in the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Right. They choked. They were doing so good. Never heard football described so painfully. Oh my gosh, Dale, get the hell out of here. But
I'll tell you what, I don't like the Patriots either, so we're on the same boat.
Listen, it was that halftime moment that decided the entire Super Bowl that year. Because the Falcons were doing so good, they held that morale up. Then all of a sudden, boom, Patriots just stole it. They came back with confidence. They came back with power. They destroyed them. I mean, and that cost the Falcons their morale and just completely ended it. Like, there was nothing the Falcons could do to stop them offensively. There was nothing they could do to stop them defensively, and it was just a shit show. That was it. Done. Game over.
I would say sports is definitely mind over matter. Talent only takes you so far.
Yeah. why I think LeBron does so good.
Yeah, crazy mentality. Like he's like 38, I think. He put up 40 points last week. It's like, how are you still doing that at that age?
Yeah, I mean, the man is just a beast. I'll give it
Oh,
to him.
yeah,
I mean, got a little bit of narcissism in it, but I think
yeah,
I don't know if
yeah.
that's like a necessary component to be that successful. I mean, if you look at I mean, I know we're getting off
Mhm.
topic from baseball. If you
No,
look
it's
at like
fine, man. Dude,
Michael
I talk.
Jordan,
I'll talk about anything. We're good.
perfect, perfect. If you look at like Michael Jordan is like one, if not the greatest basketball player of all time.
Yeah,
You know, if the man has an ego though, the
yeah, he
man has
did
an ego that would,
real big.
yeah, shrink anybody next to him. So, I mean, I don't know if you have to have that to be that good, that confidence. I don't know if it's, I don't know if you compare that to confidence or what it would be. I don't know. What does
Yeah, it
Chad
was just.
think? What do you think?
I mean, I think it's a little weird. First of all, I mean, because it's like, did you watch Last Dance by any chance?
What is that?
So it was a documentary based on his whole career. He had this footage that with him and ESPN. This part I think was a little weird. Kind of connects what you were saying about his character, his ego. He basically a whole documentary based on his whole career. They're doing the same thing with Kobe that they're releasing now, and they had all the footage ready for like maybe the past 10 years. They're ready to go, but they dropped it this year. So he had the trigger. He had the button. ESPN told him like, we're gonna finish producing this and we're gonna give it to you the next couple of years. You let us know when you're ready to go. He didn't press that button until LeBron won the finals in 2016 with the Cavs by himself.
It
So
was
if you
kind
want to talk about ego, like that guy, like he waited until someone else could be better than him, and he's like, all right, fine, let's release it to
of,
let people know he's like, I'm the best.
that's what caught me. That's what caught my attention mainly is because I would see LeBron doing so good, and again LeBron has an ego to him, so
Yeah, yeah, no, he
I'll
does,
let
yeah,
we'll
for
let him
sure.
slide for this conversation. But it's the fact that just looking at their characters and how well they do,
Mhm.
watching LeBron win all those rings and then people talk about him being the greatest of all time, and
Yeah,
then hearing Michael Jordan combat that, it's like, you came from a different era, man. I'm not
yeah,
saying
totally
that
different. Yeah,
I'm not saying that you're not a great basketball player at all.
yeah,
Michael Jordan is probably the greatest basketball player. It's just,
yeah.
different rules, different
Different time.
regulations, different
Yeah,
times, different generations.
yeah, totally
Absolutely
different.
right. So we have Randall saying, "I stick to the basic video games. I'm playing Zelda on Nintendo." And oh really, dude? Zelda's my favorite game, dude. Let's see. Like some good actors, they're good to watch, but when you meet them, you wish you wouldn't have. Oh, yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Uh, the best actors, I guess, have to have confidence in what they do.
Hmm.
Uh, it, that's I don't know. I think that's almost a prerequisite. I hate to say it that way.
I mean,
Sounds
it makes sense though. I mean, like if you're not confident what you're doing, like and you're professional, like how are you gonna be able to go on your day? But there is that little extra ego that isn't needed. I feel like, as far as like feeling yourself.
Yeah, it's almost like a trap though.
Yeah.
Like gain that confidence level, and then you get to this just what's up, Crook? He goes, ah, ha, ha. What's up, buddy? Thanks for joining chat. But it's like you gain all this confidence, and where do how do you stay humble at that point? Like, where do you humble
Yeah.
yourself? So
If you're that big, yeah, it
yeah,
makes sense.
bet you won't smell your toe. Probably not, dude. Probably not.
Jeez.
I appreciate the offer though. Maybe you can come over here one day and smell my toe. So, um, oh, okay, yeah. But I guess moving on. Do you think I asked I
Mhm.
asked a friend of mine, what he thought about esports. Do you think esports is considered a sport?
I would think so. I mean, just like you said yourself, everyone's got a spot on the team. You got to practice to be good at it.
Yeah,
So I mean, why not? Why not call it a sport?
yeah,
They spend multi-million-dollar companies pour money into it. There's sponsorships. You got to train with the team. I would consider it. Yeah,
yeah.
you got arenas, everything. 'Everything. 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 'Everything
it takes a certain level of skill or
Oh yeah,
training.
and video games are not easy,
Yeah.
especially if you're competitive.
When does the performance of the WAP happen, bro? I already did that, Wes. You missed it. I did it last Thursday. It's actually clipped on my Twitch, so if you go to the clip section, you can probably watch it. It's just me shaking my butt. It's not very entertaining. Um, let's see. Dylan is bad at all games except the games he plays with my heart. You kill me, man. You guys kill me. Esports gamers, not athletes. Esports are gamers, not athletes. That's fair. It's a fair. I guess it's a fair argument because how would you define an athlete?
That's hard without looking up an actual like definition. I don't know. I wouldn't.
I mean, do they have to be physically active? Do they have to be um, certain physical condition? I mean, there are mental athletes, right?
Yeah, that's true.
When you talk about games like chess.
Yeah.
So I mean, is there because how is shooting and archery a sport then? But it takes a certain level of precision, right?
Yeah, you don't want to mess up. You're gonna get hurt. You're gonna hurt someone else.
Yeah, I mean, it's a certain level of precision, and I think that
Yeah.
that level of precision is kind of needed when you're talking about esports. So if
Yeah.
you're talking about Overwatch, or if you're talking
Mhm.
about Call of Duty,
Yeah.
then your your hand-eye coordination, where you place the hand, the level of precision, your accuracy, how fast you can process that mentally, that
Yeah.
information. I think that is relevant.
It takes a lot. I mean, like we kind of said before, like mind over matter. Like even with sports players, so like I still think it's a sport. I think you can still be an athlete, just like you said, mind athlete. You don't have to literally be pumping iron in the gym in order to be like, oh, I'm an athlete now. You know?
Right. Yeah, and I definitely think that's pretty relevant because there's a lot of people that are in the gym pumping iron that are, I would not probably consider athletic.
Yeah.
Not calling anybody out, I promise.
No.
He says, so does video games though? Yeah, I would say. I would say
Yeah.
that video games do. Great hand-eye coordination, point proven. Ah ha ha. Dylan has never been diamond in Overwatch. Have you been diamond? If you haven't, then I don't think you can talk. Let's see. In that case, I'm an athlete. I work in a way that requires precision and attention to detail. Well, again, I think there's two definitions of athlete that we need
Mhm.
to differentiate. It's the physical athlete versus mental athlete.
Yeah.
I think mental athlete is definitely a skill in itself.
Oh yeah.
Watching people, have you watched pro or grandmaster chess players?
I have not. But I can only imagine how intense that would be watching two people like going like this and the timer and moving around.
Oh my gosh, it's nutty. I can't, because some of the moves that I see them do, I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Like, why would you do that? But then they end up setting themselves up like
Oh my
5
God.
moves ahead, and I'm just like,
Yeah, they're already way ahead of the game.
how did you know that? Like, how did you know
Oh
that
my
they would
God.
do that? That's so nutty. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, all that experience is built up.
Yeah, it's. I guess that's another point too, right?
Yeah.
It's like, does experience equal skill?
Hmm.
Does the time that someone play equal skill?
I wouldn't say generally. I would say case by case because you could have someone that's good at something to start and then they're just not good after a couple of years.
Yeah.
And but then they've been playing sports or they've been playing video games for a long time, but they were only good for that little 2-year chunk. So they've been playing for a long time, but can you call them really good?
Right. I think Dell and I talked about this one. It's like, just because you've had a certain amount of time on something doesn't mean you're necessarily just because you've had time on it doesn't mean it was good time. And
Yes, exactly.
so if you had like 5 years on a project that you were working on, or like a hobby or a sport or something that you were
Mhm.
training to do, but if it wasn't a good 5 years, then you didn't gain any experience, right? Because
Exactly.
5 times 0 is still 0.
Hmm.
So I mean, I guess that's the way we kind of thought about it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So could you take that into everyday life then? Are you an athlete with your job because you always work hard and keep the grind going? Philosophical
would say
questions,
yeah.
man.
We're getting into it. I would say yeah.
Let's do it. Oh man, I'd rather watch someone get laid out in the middle of a field than watch chess. Just me though. I think that's a lot more people. I think that's agreeable, and I'm not talking
Yeah.
about the relevance
Mhm.
of people's interest in a hobby. I mean, if we're going based off that, then I don't think people would consider pole vaulting. Pole vaulting is not a popular
Yeah.
sport, right?
Mhm.
But it's like it's still a sport, Olympic sport.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, kind of like chess. So if you get, if not a lot of people like chess, doesn't mean it's not a sport. Wizard chess from Harry Potter. Always wanted to play chess. Daydreams with Dylan. Everyone is an athlete. Your own way. Everybody is special, guys. Everybody's
Yeah.
special.
Of course.
Wait, Chandler, did you ever answer the question? Did you ever make it a diamond? Did you ever make it a diamond? Keep that question going. Do you think sports can be effectively judged, or do you think a sport is considered a sport if it's subjective? So, take for example, something like diving or
Mhm.
something like ice skating. Do you think that it's considered a sport if it's subjective in that nature, where people are getting points based off the judges?
I would say for those definitely for those two examples, yeah, for sure. I mean, they go through the sweat, the tears, the mentality of I need to be the best I can be, and then hopefully I'll get that 100 out of 100, or I don't know the exact point system, but
Right.
as best as they can get.
So would it be considered a credible sport then? So like is at least in football or baseball,
Mhm.
we have a
Yeah.
point system to where we can
Yeah.
judge who, scores the most points, and we can
Mhm.
evaluate who is the better team out of the two. But with something like ice skating, it kind of comes down to subjectivity.
Yeah, I
So
see what happens.
is ice skating a credible sport in terms of how it is judged, whereas a baseball game can be
Mhm.
judged based off points,
Yeah.
scored, where ice skating is just based off points given by a judge.
Yeah. I mean, I would still say it's credible, but like you said, subjective. So that you can't really it would be harder to say who'd be the goat of ice skating, essentially.
Right.
It's harder to
Yeah.
say who's the top of the top, but you might have maybe 10 people that you can discuss about and say, These are the 10 best skaters I've ever seen." And a lot of people might agree with that list, but it might be hard to narrow it down to that one person
I gotcha.
because you don't
Um,
have the stats to back it up.
that makes sense. That does make sense. Crook says, "No, I got to 2,997 3 SR off of Diamond, so it counts." No, it doesn't count because you got carried by Eck, bro. That doesn't count. Getting carried doesn't count. I'm kidding. I'm just messing with you, man. Don't hate me. Oh man, he said, "Okay, Dylan." I'm over it. I love you, buddy. I love you. Don't hate me. Oh, gold stars for all of us. Woo woo. Just like I said, Tuesday, the Special Olympics count as a sport. I agree. I think the
Yeah,
Special Olympics does count as a sport.
100%.
Um, I think a sport. Read my damn comments. I'm getting to it, bro. I just saw the other ones like first. I think a sport is played with a ball. Everything else is a competition. Um, it's who's the fastest, who can swim the farthest, who's the best arm wrestler, etc., etc. Where sports are played as a team, so it's different. So would tennis? I know you said it's played as a sport or played with a ball, but would tennis, since it's not like who's the fastest, who can swim the farthest, would tennis be
I mean,
considered?
that's interesting that they said that because wouldn't a sport also be a competition?
Yeah, because who's better, right? It's whose
Yeah, so
team
like
is
you're
better.
competing no matter what. Even in an academic like decathlon, you're still competing. It's competition.
Yeah, so who's fastest is still the same as saying who
Yeah,
is better,
that's what. Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
That's synonymous. Like who can
Yeah.
swim farthest, who is better. That's
Exactly.
synonymous in that
Yeah.
sense. Um, yes, but it's the ball aspect. in the team part. But in tennis,
There's
you don't
golf.
play. In tennis, you don't play on a team. In golf, you don't play on a team. Balls. Oh man, Dell, you crazy. We got Garen in here. What's up? I've been here just tired from all the walking. Hey, no worries, man. I appreciate you just tuning in, just keeping the lurk on. Really helps out. Played with a ball, yes. Yes, but it's the ball aspect and the part balls. So I'm curious though. Like, are you saying that tennis is that a sport because it's played with the ball? What if it was played with a sphere? Or not a sphere. Ball is a sphere. Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Too much red wine. Oh my gosh. What if it was played with like a cube or something like that? I don't know. Where the expectations to everything in life, Dylan. Just like how I would play with you in Overwatch, except you're too low SR. Like I said, man, you just get carried. You got carried by Egg, so I don't know if that counts. Ahaha. Just been relaxing since I got home. What game is played with a cube? I'm just saying, if it's played GameCube.
Rubik's Cube.
Rubik's Cube. I mean, that would be a mental sport. Like, who can solve the Rubik's Cube faster? What would be something that is considered a sport? Pole vaulting, right? Pole vaulting is a sport, but it's not played with a ball.
Oh, no, shot put has a ball too, or
You
discus.
Gymnastics. Gymnastics.
Yeah, gymnastics. Yeah, perfect example.
Gymnastics.
It's all your body.
Yeah. So is that not considered a sport? Or discus? Yes. Yeah, you're actually right with discus. Do you see what I'm saying though, Dylan? I feel like there's a difference between a sport and a competition. Yes, but I think in a sport, it's synonymous with competition. Because if you're playing football, you're competing to see who is better, who the better team is. Just like in disc golf, you're competing to see who the better player is. Just like in gymnastics, you're competing to see who the better, what is the word? Gymnast. Gymnast, yes.
Yeah.
Who the better gymnast is. I ran cross country and track. I don't consider it a sport because it's who's the fastest. The team can do bad, but if you win, you win. Is Pokemon a sport then? There's a ball there.
Yeah, hold up.
Pokemon Go. You're walking, you're athletic, and you're throwing a Pokeball. 2 conditions met.
Yep.
Pog champion. Let's get it, guys.
Oh man.
That's a good. That's a big brain, Wes. That is freaking big brain. Oh my goodness. Like I said, everything is a sport. I would consider cross country and track a sport.
Yeah. I mean, you could letter in it too, right?
Well, I get what he's saying there, though. The lettering, I don't know if the lettering would be considered staple of what's a sport.
That's true.
But I mean, if we're going based off that criteria, then something like Pikachu. Lettering means nothing. That's based on. I did cross country. So, Sammy, all right. Thanks for joining the discussion. Would you turn your mic up? Oh, is that me? I'm sorry. Would you consider cross country a sport, Sammy? We're debating this. We're doing this on stream, guys. When was the last time you watched Sports Center? I watch it like all the time when I'm at the gym, actually. It's the only thing that keeps me entertained. I can't run. I can't run without something. I'm not like I said, I'm not a sports guy, but at the gym, I will watch it just because it takes my mind off of doing cardio. All that streaming equipment, and my man doesn't have a sound guy. Hey, man, I don't have a Jamie. I tried to get Nikki to be my Jamie. I try to get Strickland to be my Jamie. Wes, how about you be my Jamie? Yeah, it's a sport, but kind of odd as a team sport, to be honest. Okay, well, if everything is a sport, and let's go with it, why is gaming not a sport? Well, that was the argument, right? Esports.
Yeah, no, we said yeah.
That was the whole point. I think that's kind of what led us down this path. Was what did we consider a sport, and why did people consider gaming it an esport? And then we talked about the two different kind of athletes, like mental athlete versus physical athlete, where a mental athlete is someone that can handle like precision and stuff like that, or, you know, complex computations in their head, like chess. Okay, well, you're bad at Overwatch. My point has been proven. I'm just saying I'm better than you. I don't need to be carried up to a high SR. I'm just saying. Just saying. This feels like Psych 3,500. Oh, my goodness. Hey, I ran the other day. I had to chase Hannah. Hey, congrats, man. Congrats. Well, I think that kind of concludes this discussion, unless Crook is going to try and troll me again. Because I think I won that. Didn't Kaylor put you in plat heels? No, I didn't play with Kaylor, you dummy. You dummy. Overwatch is a sport. Lucio ball. That's true. Has a ball in it. It has hammy. It has hammy, guys. Yes. It has hammy. It's a sport. What are you talking about? I'm burning calories every time I move my hands.
Yeah.
Lucio ball. Go beer. Bags. No, Kayla didn't care. I don't play with Kayla like that. If I played with anybody, it was Drew. You're at least the same. So, just saying. Don't try and get at me. Don't know the facts. But anyways, well, this has been an awesome stream, man. I really appreciate it. I felt like I learned a lot more about baseball than I I came in here with. What is Spencer's SR? Do you play Overwatch?
Oh, man, dude, I like the game a lot. I don't have a lot of time to play a lot of video games.
Look,
honestly, don't remember what mine is.
Look, man,
I couldn't tell you.
Crook is the sweatiest Overwatch player in the world. He will judge his whole entire gameplay based off how many golds he has, and really, he'll be healer and he'll be like, "I have gold damage." I'm like, it's not really indicative of how good you're doing as a support, but you know, we'll just go with it. I love you, Crook. I love you. You know, I have to get you on the troll, buddy. I love you. But we win. I love you, buddy. But yeah, like I said, guess in the crying face. I love you. Oh man. Like I said, man, I feel like I learned a lot more about baseball and sports than I have done in the past couple of days or couple months or my whole entire lifetime of, you know, being involved in sports. So I really appreciate you coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me, man. I had a great conversation too. I mean, mental athlete, physical athlete, whole new mindset.
Right? I know. I'll be keeping the
totally
mindset, man. Overwatch players are athletes.
Yeah.
Pokemon Go players are athletes. Go. That's the new meme, guys. That's it. So I appreciate you coming on. I'm gonna go ahead and raid somebody on Twitch, and I'll keep you on this side. Okay. He says baseball is fun to play, not fun to watch, at least for me. But I know it's a whole grind that they do. Well, that was the whole beginning, that they're trying to make it more appealing. They know their numbers are dropping, so they're trying to make it more appealing. Rules, which I thought was crazy. I had no idea. But I missed the beginning. I apologize. Okay, all is forgiven. All is forgiven. But yeah, I respect b-ball. B-ball as in baseball, or b-ball as in basketball. But I usually refer to basketball as b-ball.
Yeah.
LZ boy, you had ass. Oh my god. All right, guys. We're gonna go ahead and raid somebody. How did baseball players get COVID? They're like miles apart on the field. Oh my goodness, Wes. You blow my mind. All right, guys. We're gonna go ahead and raid. I think we'll raid Miss Peachy Queen, since Sammy dropped by. We love Sammy, and Kaylor hasn't started streaming. So we're gonna go ahead and raid. I'm gonna keep you over here. I appreciate it. Give me 1 second. /raid. Miss. Queen. There we go. Dugout. Haha. Ha ha ha. All right, guys. There we go. We're gonna raid. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. It's because they kiss each other in the dugout. You guys are crazy. Hashtag Dream Team, guys. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for coming out tonight. I will see you guys next Tuesday. Bye, guys. I'm gonna keep you here. So I'm gonna raid. Perfect.